Hi, this is the Alchemist Astrologer, and this is the February Inside Out reading for Leo Sun, Leo Rising, and Leo Moon. So Leo, what are your conscious desires, your known intentions? What are you openly telling yourself and telling other people about why you're doing what you're doing? You have the Hermit, Spiritual, and Remembrance. So for some of you, perhaps there's a strong tie to a Virgo person, but for others of you, you may be very focused right now on something. Maybe you're doing some research, you could be teaching, getting some advice, offering advice. This is a period of enlightenment for you, where you're either shedding light on something or you're gaining some kind of knowledge yourself. And you may need more downtime in order to do that. You may be working on something that requires you to spend more time alone, or perhaps you are having to review something. It could be your health, your age, but with the spiritual card here, maybe you are reviewing your faith, your belief in something, a spiritual belief, an outlook on life, and it may tie to history, your ancestry, your family, spirit guides, karma, past lives. So you are closely focused on something in order to gain some awareness. Maybe you're trying to find your own path, your own belief system. You may be questioning something. Maybe you're turning your back on a belief, or you've lost faith in something. But you're intently focused. But you have to make sure that maybe you don't lose your faith in something, that you're not so focused in one aspect of your life that something else begins to fall through the cracks. This is a period where you could be gaining some knowledge. It's a very karmic time where you are going to be wrapping up some unfinished business, those loose ends that are now calling for your attention, the things that you've put off, that you wanted to avoid. You're having to deal with that so that you can evolve spiritually. And for some of you, again, this may mean finding yourself in situations that are confrontational, testing the level of knowledge, yours or someone else's, where you end up discovering that, hey, there's still more to know. Maybe I don't know everything. So there could be some lessons in humility. So it's a very good time for listening, observing, taking in information, and being objective about what you're seeing so that you can make the best decisions for yourself. So the more philosophical you can take, the approach you can take to life is best right now, rather than being flooded with emotion. This is a time to be practical, to see things as they are, situations, other people, and yourself. So again, so you can move forward, so you can make good decisions that are worthy of you putting your faith in. So for some of you, you again are doing some research, you're investigating, you're either putting something out there for others to see, or you're receiving something that is spiritual in nature. Maybe you're getting some advice, maybe you're connecting to people who are spiritual. So something is coming to light for you. And there's a conscious desire for that to happen. Although, again, this may be a stressful period where you're dealing with issues that are long, from long past, that are not resolved. Now, what are your unconscious desires? And these are desires that you yourself may not even be aware of, because they live beneath the surface. They're motivated by memories that you're still holding on to, painful experiences, repressed emotions that are continually exerting influence over your behavior without you even realizing it. And of course, sometimes these are not in alignment with your conscious desires. They're actually working against your conscious desires, and in fact may be at the very root of your actions in spite of what you're openly projecting. And you have temperance, falsity, and splendor. So there's a need for some kind of movement. because there's could be an area of your life that you're procrastinating on. Now, maybe this ties to a Sagittarius person, but you're having to test the waters with regard to something. There's an unconscious desire, perhaps, to compromise. Maybe there's been some falsity. One of you, somebody you're involved with, or you yourself, has been wearing a false mask in the relationship. And there's a need to recognize that falsity, whether somebody has been a false friend, a liar, a gossip, an opportunist, a player, a con. You're having to come to terms with that and look at where behaviors have been excessive, areas where somebody may have gone too far, maybe too much spending or too much indulgence. It's about excess and learning to find that right balance, whether you're compatible with a person or circumstance, and also the need to recognize inner beauty as opposed to just what's on the outside. So somebody has been wearing a false face, a false mask, either because they're masking their emotions or there's been some actual deception. So your unconscious desire is to reach some kind of compromise and perhaps have an honest discussion with regard to this. It could be that there's something that, again, you've been avoiding, your belief or your faith in a situation. And now you need to just come to terms with that you are going to have to agree to disagree. And you're going to have these conversations in ways that don't destroy the relationship. You're going to have a conversation in ways where the other person doesn't feel judged or criticized. So maybe your unconscious desire is to reach some kind of agreement, to find common ground, to tepidly test the waters about some kind of discussion where you realize there's been some falsity, where perhaps your belief system or your values are not matching someone else's. And again, you have to find that balance. Now, in spite of what your desires are, what is it that you actually need? You have the Ten of Pentacles, illusions, and revelation. So again, you have a couple of cards about things coming to light, where your beliefs have been, where something has been false. There's a revelation about some type of illusion, again, that may be based on outward appearance, what something looks like, looking like you're happy, looking like you're successful, looking like you have money, and where perhaps there's an illusion where something is lacking depth. You're also having to look at yourself, a long history of illusions. Now, for some of you, this may be tied to family, could be family money, investments, your long-term future. There could be marital conflicts, estrangements within the family, all manner of things. You're also having to look at going above and beyond, doing more, being more responsible for others, or where there's been the illusion of that. So something for the long term that impacts your security in some way, you're having to rethink that based on some revelations. And it may tie to your belief in some information that you received, your faith generally, and where there's been some excess and some falsity about that. Now, the positive influence would be the circumstances, the people, the emotions, the conditions that are assisting you and contributing to a positive outcome. You have the Seven of Cups, dead end, and opportunity. So perhaps where there's been some confusion about a dead end, there's also an opportunity to distinguish what has real value. Maybe you've gotten to some false starts in the past. Maybe something seems like it doesn't have a solution or a resolution. You're going around and around, or you make some progress and the door suddenly closes. So there's an opportunity for you to gain some clarity, especially if you start to look closely at what has real value rather than just what's superficial, or where something is false, or where something is based on outward appearance, or where you may be looking to fulfill yourself in ways through extravagance. So there's an opportunity for something. If you're able to sort out what has real meaning, if you're able to prioritize, you may have the opportunity to deal with something where you've been meeting a dead end. Now, this could mean that you're looking at what is before you and deciding what you need to deal with first. Maybe do some research, or maybe you're working on your education, or you may be dealing with something where there are issues of addiction. Maybe somebody needs to abstain from drugs or alcohol. And that's been difficult, but there's now an opportunity to address some kind of obsession or addiction, something that has been false. So the positive opportunity is for you to sort through something, gain clarity, stop wasting your energy and diverting your attention to something that doesn't have value or won't pay off for you. The negative influence is this struggle. And there's a history of this struggle, something that you're enchanted with. Now, maybe there's an enchantment with wealth or power or status, or maybe you're struggling against the establishment. And maybe that's becoming this rebel without a cause kind of mentality. Maybe you're struggling with people who are powerful and they're overpowering you. Institutions, establishments, whether that's family or government or companies or situations. Maybe there's a focus also on leaving some kind of legacy. And so the negative influence is, what are you drawn to? This enchantment card means that there's something pulling you towards something that may not necessarily be healthy for you. Now, the Five of Wands, maybe you're dealing with a lot of competition, and that's causing the struggle. Maybe you're involved in something where there's extreme competition, whether that's in business or for affection. This is also an ego card where you want to be in charge and the other person wants to be in charge, and consequently nothing really gets structured. Nothing's really built on anything solid because too many people are vying for position. So there's a need to work together to solve some kind of issue. Again, it could be related to property, could be related to money or investments of some sorts, assets, royalties, something that you're enchanted with in some kind of struggle. If this is about your belief system and what your faith in the system itself, it could be a long-term struggle that you've had with family. It could be a struggle that you're having with addiction or obsessions of some sort. Maybe, there's a chance to deal with some form of mental challenge, mental illness, healing in some way. So the negative influence is this struggle, the need to be in charge or some kind of ego battle or feeling conflicted. And there's going to be conflict as long as you're not sure about what you want, what your path is, what you believe, what your values are. So when you sort that out, you'll be able to move forward. And again, that comes through listening. There could be something you don't know that you think you know. Maybe you should observe, you should take in information. And it may be necessary to compromise and look at where you've been going too far in a situation. Now, the heart of the matter is the Empress, Trois, and Explore. So for some of you, maybe this ties to maternal issues, maternal instincts, your mother or important women in your life, your own sense of well-being, success, happiness, beauty. And there seems to be an issue where maybe you're exploring. Perhaps you're exploring whether there's been some infidelity. Maybe you're thinking of stepping outside of the bounds of a relationship. It could be somebody's being catered to by multiple parties. Maybe a lot of people are vying for someone's attention. It could be something is based on beauty. This is also about the willingness to help. Is somebody helping too much to the point that it's becoming a crutch? Is mother becoming smother? Or are you exploring what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, how you can get the attention that you need, how you can become the center of attention? And what is that attention based on? So you're exploring something. Maybe there's the desire, maybe you're connecting with, a third party, or, other people are involved. Maybe this is about travel for a vacation, or working on a project together. So for some of you, the heart of the situation is putting in practical effort toward a goal. As long as you are applying yourself, whether it feels like you're making much headway or not, you are getting closer to that finish line. You could be, having to look, though, at the limits. Where is the moderation? Because this could also be a card of extreme self-indulgence or extreme restraint. You're looking at where you're going too far. You're spending too much, you're eating too much, you're buying too much, you're partying too much, or you never spend. You exercise too much. The whole focus is on how you look, or you are suffering in order to make some gains. So this is about nurturing something, and it's going to take time. There's something that you want to give birth to. Or perhaps at the heart of the situation is a third party where someone is giving birth. If you've stepped out of your relationship, maybe somebody's pregnant. Or maybe there's, a third party involved. So you do have 2 3s here. So it speaks, greatly of exploring either mentally or that has actually happened, a third party situation, for good or bad. So this is about getting in touch with your own well-being, your own feminine energy, male or female, your ability to thrive, to grow, to nurture what is important to you, whether that's your health, a relationship, or a project, and your own willingness to offer help to others. Now, the action that's called for is trust. This situation is calling for you to have faith. And you also have walk away. So in some circumstances, you need to have trust, faith in yourself, your own well-being, and perhaps you need to walk away from a situation. Or you need to trust why someone has walked away from you, that it was the right thing to do. Maybe you're having to turn your back on certain beliefs or ideas and cut through the confusion of something to sort out what really has value. So you may need to trust another person, or you may simply need to trust yourself, especially if maybe you need to walk away from spending too much, or substance abuse, or unhealthy situations, infidelity. Maybe you need to trust that you have the strength to walk away where you've been struggling with regard to a situation. All right, Leo, now that you know what's at the heart of your situation for February, head over to Vimeo for the end of the story to find out what you can change, what you can't, and how it's all likely to turn out. I want to thank you for sharing your time and space. Please be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're interested in purchasing any of the indie decks featured in this reading, The link is down below.